Hey friends, welcome to the Publish, Promote, Profit podcast. I'm Rob Kosberg, and every week I show you how to use a best-selling book to grow your income and your impact. And if you're interested in having your own best-selling book, I recorded a short video explaining our trademarked process at beginmybook.com. Let's go ahead and answer the questions and really help both my clients, anybody that's interested, to really learn how do you make money with a book even before it's done. Now, there are quite a few different ways to do it, right? Truth be told. I have all these are my notes here, and I have a great example, or at least I think a great example for you on how to actually do this. But there's lots of ways to do it. We have a client that basically asked us to create a cover and use that cover only. There was no book yet to launch her book and other programs on Kickstarter, and she did, $52,000 in a period of about 2 months on Kickstarter, raised more than enough money to do her book, her media, her PR, her book tour, etc. And, the rest is history. Really, really successful for her. So you could use something like Kickstarter. We've done anthology books with clients. Some of you may be on or know Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank is a good friend of mine and a client of BSP. We've done a couple of books for him. We did an anthology compilation book where people could invest, $10,000, $12,000 and basically write a chapter. And if you're an influencer of any kind and have a following, even a reasonably small following, we've done this with a couple of our clients. Matt Terriot is another one. Where they offer to their followers to basically be a part of this compilation book. You, as kind of the influencer, writes a chapter or two, or maybe the first several chapters, and handles everything, all the pieces of it, and you get people to pay you $5,000 to $10,000 to do a chapter. We've had a number of clients do that. Obviously, that's a way that you can make money before the book is ever written. It's a different kind of book, but still, there are other ways also. Today, we're going to focus on selling ads and sponsorships within your book long before your book is ever completed. And you can do this and easily earn we have clients who've earned between $15,000 and $20,000 just in having a sponsored section within their book. Now, there's several different steps to this, and I want to share the steps, and I want to use one particular example, and this is my client, Steve Lankford, and his book, Speak Dog. And I probably was thinking of it because as I was actually taking notes and writing all this down, my dog, Bob, who's an Argentine dogo, was laying on the couch. I'd just taken him for a walk. It was early in the morning, and I was thinking about Bob. And so, Steve, your book came to mind, and I was like, okay, let me use that as an example. And there you go. You never know why you do things, but that's the reason. So I want to give you 4 steps that you need to take, and I want to give you kind of some of the languaging, et cetera, that you would use if you wanted to do this. You could do this book 1, book 2, book 3, and guess what? You could even, after you launch your book, say, wow, that would have been great to do. You can, launch your book, have your book already out, and then, basically go to people and say, hey, this is a best-selling book. I'm going to create a second edition, or I'm going to relaunch this book and put it in front of thousands more people. And I'm wondering if you would like to be featured in a best-selling book, et cetera. So there's lots of ways you can do it, no matter what step you are in the process of already having done your book. So number 1 in this process is you want to find complementary businesses, not competitive businesses, okay? You want to think within the box of, what are the types of businesses that, number 1, I would feel good about featuring, right? And they're not going to take business away from me in any way. Instead, they're going to complement what I do. And so again, I wanted to use Steve's book as an example, and I just, really quickly, and he might come up with, 10 other ideas. But, I wrote down a bunch of quote unquote complementary type businesses. So a veterinarian hospital would be, a great business, a local veterinarian hospital, even a national type veterinarian hospital, maybe one that does stem cell therapy or bigger type stuff. That would be a great kind of featured business or featured in a section. Any type of dog food or, I'd say pet food, but this is about speaking dogs. So dog food in particular, right? We love our dogs. And so, my wife cooks for our dogs, but we also supplement that with, the best dog food that money can buy. And so we're always interested in, finding the best treats, the best dog food. So if there are companies that, Steve would really support and say, okay, well, these guys really do it right, and they use, high quality ingredients and whole breast chicken or whatever the deal is, then okay, you both feel good about it, and it's not competitive with what you're selling in any way. Number 4, BarkBox. We subscribe to BarkBox. So I was like, okay, well, BarkBox has tens of thousands of, maybe even hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And so, they're always looking for ways to market, et cetera. So that's a long shot, because that could be by the way, Steve, that could be a really complimentary thing. I mean, you might get them to put your book in every BarkBox or something like that. How amazing would that be? So there's, a couple of different things there for you. Breeders, right? And I don't, some people, there are obviously kind of swarmy breeders that you want to stay away from. And there are others that really do it the right way, and they don't overbreed and all of that. So maybe there's a complementary breeder that you would work with. And it could even be multiple breeders, because they obviously breed, different kinds of dogs. Other non-competitive trainers, right? People that aren't in your particular space. I was in Nashville just last week, just for a very, very short trip. And one of my oldest and dearest friends lives in Franklin. And he has a big ranch, and right next to his ranch is another ranch, and they train not German Shepherds, but it's a dog just like a German Shepherd, but they train them. They sell those dogs for $50,000, and they train them for like the royal family, and they're for protection, et cetera. And these types of businesses would be a great, again, not competitive in any way, unless, Steve, you do that particular thing. So that's the idea, right? The idea is that you find, 10, 15 complementary businesses. And by the way, not just those individual ones. I'll share in the next step what you want to think about, but you want to have 10 to 15 different categories that you can have in a like featured businesses or featured products section. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to make a great, compelling offer to the marketplace. Now, listen, whatever you're going to do, if you're trying to sell anything, you need to make a great competitive offer. But with this, you want to think, really, how can this really benefit the person that, or the company or the business or the product that I'm looking to have featured in my book, right? You already feel good about them. Otherwise, you would never approach them. You want to make sure that they also will get great value out of that. So number 1, you let them know, hey, I'm going to have a featured product section. I'm going to have a section in my book where I'm only picking the products, the businesses, et cetera, that I absolutely believe in, that I believe are the best of the best. And I wanted to approach you because you're one of those people, you're one of those businesses, and you're going to have that within your book. Number 2, you want to make it exclusive. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit more salesmanship on your part. But you want to let them know this is exclusive to your kind of business. So for example, if you were going to do a breeder of German Shepherds, then you would want to let them know you are the only breeder that is going to be featured in this. But here's kind of the trick in that. You want to have 2 or 3 of them in mind, right? Because what if they say no? You want to let them know, in fact, at the front, you want to let them know, look, I've gone to, I have 3 people just like you that I trust and I believe in. And I've gone to all 3 of you, this one, which they probably have heard of, and this one, which they've heard of, and you, and I'm giving you, kind of first come, first serve, whichever one of you wants this exclusive sponsorship, then I'm going to give that to you. So now you've created scarcity within this, right? They know that if they want to be featured in this book, it's not just that they want their business featured. They don't want the competition's business featured. Okay. So understand that. You want to make it exclusive for them, and you want to let them know I've already contacted these other businesses. And so it's really first come, first serve. I have, in some cases, actually bought something that I never intended to buy simply because I wanted to box out the competition. If you think about it from your business perspective, I bet you've done the same thing. And then last, you want to price this reasonably, $1,000 to $1,500. And if you sell 10 or 15 of them, then you could easily, raise $15,000 to $20,000 plus. Now, someone may say, well, that seems expensive. Well, that's not expensive at all. That's a really low investment when you consider how much you have to invest to write the book, to publish the book, to format the book, to launch the book to bestseller, all that you have to do, right, from your time resources, your energy resources, your monetary, your financial resources, it's hard to get a book done. And now you're telling me, because believe me, every one of these businesses would love to have their own book, but most of them either A, have never set aside the time to do it, right, or B, maybe can't afford to set aside the time and the money and the resources to do it. So now you're telling them, hey, the next best thing for you is I'm going to feature you in a best-selling book. So, and it's going to be a fraction of the investment that you would have to make to do it yourself. Those of you who already have a book, you understand it completely because you've poured in your blood, your sweat, your tears, and your money to get your book done and to make it successful. Isn't that true, Steve? And you know that is, right? So keep the investment reasonable. That is making a great offer. Number 3, you don't just want to make them a great offer. You want to actually show them how they can use what you're offering them to make themselves more successful, to raise their credibility and their authority. So number 1, you want to let them know that they are going to be featured in a best-selling book. So not only will thousands and maybe over time, tens of thousands of people be going to this book, both digital, softcover, etc., and seeing your information. Not only will that be true, but now you can call yourself, a product that is featured in the best-selling book, How I Learned to Speak Dog, as an example. And so you then show them, hey, you want to have that on your website, right? You want to have that as a featured item on your website, this product, just like you might have featured in ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, you want to have, hey, featured in the best-selling book, etc. You want to tell them, hey, put it on your social media, have it on your Facebook page, have it on your Instagram page, have it on your Twitter page, tweet out about it. In fact, that will drive traffic back to you, but it will be mutually beneficial for both of you. And then last but not least, you can actually even give them like a little plaque or certification for next to nothing that, will show, certified as, featured in the best-selling book, XYZ. And if they have a physical location, they can put that in the physical location. Now you've not only made them a great offer that is exclusive, and that's very reasonably priced, but you've shown them how they can use it. And I'm just touching the surface of this. There's 10, 50, 100. All the ways that you can use your book are ways that they can potentially use the book as well. They can have copies of your book in their physical location that they give out. They can have it earmarked or a little, sticky note where their full page, their full featured article is in your book. And so there's lots of ways that they can use it. Last but not least, you want to reverse the risk. Reverse the risk. For those of you that are BSP clients, this is what we do. It's part of our USP, our unique selling proposition. When I was figuring out how to launch my first book, Life After Debt, 12, 13 years ago, and I had all these people line up to take my money to do email drops or one-off press releases, and I spent thousands of dollars on nothing. I thought to myself, you know what, if only there was a place where I could just write a check and get a guaranteed result, right? Like I came from the real estate space, and when do realtors get paid? They get paid when the house closes, right? They don't get paid for showing you homes. When does the mortgage consultant get paid? They get paid when the house closes, when the deal closes. So I thought to myself, you know what, if I could create a company that, tells our clients all the things that we do, press releases and paid media and social media and all this stuff, but ultimately just gives them what they want, like guaranteed bestseller or it's free. I'm like, that's what I wanted. So you can do the exact same thing. You can let them know and reverse that risk and tell them, look, this book is going to be a bestseller, and I'm going to show you and prove to you that it's a bestseller. And if for any reason it does not become a bestseller, I'm going to refund you 100% of the money you paid me. You risk nothing. Now what you've done is you've completely reversed the risk. You've put it on yourself. Now look, you need to figure out how to launch it to become a bestseller. You need to pay a company like mine that actually does that legitimately for people. But when you reverse the risk, you give them every single reason to say yes. You've made them a great offer. They're complimentary to you, right? You've shown them how to use it, half a dozen different ways. And now you've said, look, you got nothing here to risk. Either this book is going to be a bestseller with you featured in a best-selling book, or it's totally free. Okay. So in some ways, I'm telling you how to sell this, right? My job really isn't to teach you to be a salesperson. But I want you to understand the power of this kind of offer when it is positioned correctly. Many clients have come to me and said, hey, I love this, I want to do it, and then they don't do it, right? Because of the fear of selling, or it does take time to figure out who these complementary businesses are, and then actually get in touch with people, and so on and so forth, right? So there's lots of reasons for you not to do this, but I want you to understand that if you did this, if you found 2 or 3 businesses that each of them are in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different complementary, type ancillary offers to yours, and you have in each one of those categories, say 3 businesses, and you went out to all of them, you will make $15,000 to $20,000 if you put this into practice. You will. And that may all by itself help you to, fund your project, pay for more media and PR. Shoot, it may be the thing that turns the tide completely on it being a successful book for you financially versus an unsuccessful book. I have clients that do this regularly. You can do this. You just have to create that section. You have to take these steps. So, hey, I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you do this, because it takes away every excuse from you having a book because of the financial investment. Now you can actually raise all the funds so you ever even start writing the first word. Now, once you raise the money, you need to finish the book and you need to make it a bestseller, right? We want to be legitimate in our offers. But at any stage, you can do this if you have a great cover and you put together an awesome offer.
Hey, thanks for listening in on the Publish, Promote, Profit podcast. If you enjoyed it, please take a minute and like and subscribe to the podcast, because every week I bring you either great guests or great teaching to help you to grow your income and your impact with a best-selling book. And if you're interested in having your own best-selling book, check out my short video which explains our trademark process at beginmybook.com.